Welcome, brave souls, to a ghostly journey through the dark streets of Old Town Key West, where restless souls of the island still linger. Well, I'm Michele with Fun in Key West, and today is another episode of First Timer Friday. And today we're talking all about Key West ghost tours. There's a lot of interesting facts that surround Key West and its haunted history. Key West is consistently ranked as one of the most haunted cities in America. A lot of it is due to where it's located. Its ill-fated past, pirates, shipwrecks, stormy nights. It has every aspect that makes a Key West ghost tour worth going on. So let me give you a little bit of historical context. You have early tragedies and storms that occurred in Key West that lead to this haunted lore. You have the Great Havana Hurricane of 1846. You have all of those ill-fated shipwrecks that claimed many lives, but also that's what, founded a lot of the wealth of Key West because of the wreckers. But all of these shipwrecks and the Havana hurricane, it contributes to these stories of restless souls wandering the island. You also have slave ships and foreign commerce tragedies in the Florida Keys. You have Key West is right on the pathway of maritime trade, and it has a strategic port status and a strategic location that puts us primarily in a position where all of these things combine, and you know what? You got opportunity for ghost tours. You also have pirates that have been in and out of Key West. You have privateers. They have the hanging tree that we're going to talk about. And we also have all of these founding families that started Key West and have some sort of touch and influence on the history of Key West. They have their own tragedies, and so we'll talk about some of those. So let's start off with Captain Tony's Saloon. If you go into Captain Tony's Saloon, you're going to see a tree in there, and it's known as the hanging tree. The building was built back in 1851, and it was built as an ice house, and this is also served as the morgue for Key West. And it was expanded around this hanging tree. There are stories and references back to about 17-ish people were hung from the tree, including pirates and the lady in blue. Workers have even found human bones and gravestones. Think back to Elvira and Reba Sawyer under the floorboards whenever they were renovating the building. So the lady in blue, the story goes that she was hanged in a blue dress that was covered in blood because she murdered her family because her husband was caught cheating. And supposedly there's sightings of her around the women's restroom whenever you go into Captain Tony's. This is also an iconic spot because this was the original location for Hemingway to hang out at before he talked his friend into moving Sloppy Joe's to Sloppy Joe's new location and its current location. But there's a lot of haunted stories that surround Captain Tony's. You can imagine. It was a morgue. You had the hanging tree in there. There's just all kinds of stories that you're going to hear. Am I going to tell you all the stories? No, that's why you go on a ghost tour in Key West to hear those stories. I'm going to give you a little bit of a practical tip here. Always wear comfy shoes whenever you go on one of these ghost tours. Most of them are walking tours, and if they're not, we'll talk about that. But we want to make sure that you're comfy, and if flippy flops make you comfy, that's fine. Wear flippy flops. Some of the pub crawls are also haunted crawls, so maybe you'll pick up a cocktail along the way. Not necessarily thought of as a haunted location in Key West, but the Key West Shipwreck Treasure Museum has a history. This former cistern that's attached to the building, there's tales of ill-fated people that were found inside the cistern, and so that leads to a lot of the haunted lore. As you explore the Shipwreck Museum, go see Daddy Longlegs. It's supposedly a cursed silver bar that was found from a shipwreck dating back to 1656. And so there's lots of tales of murder and treasure curses attached to this silver bar. But go see it. It's one of those really cool things. There are stories of and sightings that restless spirits wander around the artifacts. Either they're attached to the artifact or they're attached to the space. And so there's interesting stories that are attached to that shipwreck museum. Many ghost tours stop there, not necessarily go in, but they'll stop and they'll talk about it. So you can always explore it and then go see it and then go back after the tour and hop right back in. I believe Old Town Trolley Ghosts and Gravestones ends their tour there, and then you can go up in there. If you want to meet Robert the Doll and hear all about his escapades, then you have to go over to the Fort East Martello and experience the Robert the Doll experience. The Fort Martello was a military post, and it now houses the East Martello Museum. And Robert the Doll now lives there, and he has a storied past going all the way back to the 1900s. You can go in and meet Robert the Doll. You can use ghost hunting equipment to explore the fort and see what's happening. Story says, and legend has it, that you need to ask Robert for permission to take his photo, or else bad luck will follow you as you leave the island. So make sure, just to be on the safe side, you always ask for permission. This is an interesting tour because it's usually at night. You get the full aspect of meeting Robert the Doll and hearing all about how he came to be and why he's there and the impact that he had on Key West haunted history. If you're wandering down Duval, you will see St. Paul's Episcopal Church. It is a beautiful church, but they also have the cemetery there. And this church was founded in the 19th century. But it's been destroyed and rebuilt. It was destroyed by hurricanes and then the Great Fire of 1886. But legend has it that John Fleming, who was a sea captain, is buried back there. And the widow wanted to make sure that he was never moved. As you wander through the cemetery, know that nobody's real sure where John Fleming is, but rumor has it that he is there. There's rumors that sometimes he wanders through there. There's also sightings of children spirits near an angel that died in a tragic church fire there. So be sure to check some of those stories out while you're out there. Some of those ghost stories also include apparitions in a flimsy white vapor that you might see. You can sometimes feel people have reported wind gusts near graves, and sometimes they hear children's voices. But you can take a tour of that and be sure to walk around there. This one was a little surprising as I did some research, but Mallory Square and Duval Street after dark. Mallory Square is known absolutely for its sunset celebrations. I mean, come on, who doesn't go to Key West and expect to have at least one evening spent on Mallory Square enjoying a sunset? But there's also rumors and tales of ghosts and apparitions that wander Mallory Square because of ill-fated shipwrecks and restless spirits that wander the waterfront. So in Duval bars, there's many bars. You can go on a haunted pub crawl where you'll go on a tour and you'll go in and out of some of these haunted pubs up and down Duval. Hard Rock Cafe is one that you will probably visit. There are rumors that there is a person who wanders the second floor. So make sure that, as you start to pick the kind of tour you have and what you want to do, it's all lined up with where you want to be and how you want to enjoy that. So another notable haunted sites or sites that you want to have interest in while you are in Key West and taking in the haunted experience is the Grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes. And this is generally believed to be sacred site. And this is where supposedly the prayers were made and the whispers were done. And this is what keeps Key West protected from a direct hit from a hurricane. Key West Aquarium and Majestic, St. Paul's Church. We've talked about St. Paul's before, but The aquarium isn't necessarily a haunted place, but you've got nautical tragedies that can link back and you can see maybe what was happening within the seas around there. Again, I mentioned a lot of the historic homes in Key West are traced to the founding families that had an absolute influence in building Key West. And some of these homes still have maybe some of the ancestors still wandering through those homes. So when you go onto a ghost tour, and I'm going to encourage you to head over to FunInKeyWest.com, check out under what to do, check out our ghost tours. You can book them right there. You're going to have a walking tour option or maybe a trolley tour option. If you're walking, it's going to be more intimate, a smaller group. You're going to be more close up in the streets of Old Town. So you're going to want to wear those comfortable shoes, and it's a more hands-on event. Some of them you get more insight into stories. You can ask more questions. Some of those you get to use ghost hunting equipment and really dive into the haunted experience. Old Town Trolley does ghosts and gravestones, and it's a trolley, and it's more of a theatrical experience. And you get to go through the trolley is doomed, and it's heading through the streets of Key West. And then you end up seeing from a trolley perspective some of those haunted sites. Like I mentioned before, you can also do a pub crawl tour. So you can combine haunted pub spots such as Captain Tony's and other bars, and have a ghost host guide and that takes you around and gives you the stories that link back to why this person might be wandering through this establishment. And then, of course, you can enjoy adult beverages while you hear these ghost stories. Then you've got more of a paranormal investigation tour, which would be the Robert the Doll experience. You get to use those ghost hunting equipment. You can do VIP adventures with exclusive access to other areas. So those are fun. Take note if you are going on a ghost tour and it's deemed family friendly versus adult only. If you show up with somebody that is underage and it's an adult only tour, they probably won't take you. So some are not suitable for children under 13 just for the stories that are going to be told and the actual experience. And others are more family friendly. They tell milder stories and it's not as scary. You can also do private tours, and we have access to a lot of those as well. So you get to tailor how you want to have that experience. Most ghost tours in Key West last about an hour and a half, about 90 minutes, and you can take photos. So bring your water, you can take your photos. And if you want to have more of that intimate experience, I would encourage a walking tour versus the trolley tour. With that, we have covered a lot of interesting things that you probably didn't know about the haunted side about Key West, but now you're intrigued and you're like, next time I'm in Key West, I definitely want to go on a ghost tour. Maybe a couple, right? If you dare to walk in the footsteps of Key West's restless souls, book a ghost tour. Check them out over at FunInKeyWest.com, like I said, and then you can hear all the stories about murder and curses and strange dolls, and trust me, you will not forget these stories. Over at FunInKeyWest.com, you can also sign up for our happy hour list, and you can also sign up for our book club. Check out at the top and check out the book club. You'll see what we've been read in previous months, and you'll also get to see what we're reading this month. I encourage you to sign up so then you can have access to our private Facebook group. I think it's going to be so much fun for you. I am Michele. This has been another episode of First Timer Friday. I'm so glad that you stopped by. I love it when you guys stop by. Let me know what ghost tour you went on and that you loved and that you do every time that you're in Key West. I want to hear all about it. And I also want to hear, did you see something really fun or weird or see an apparition or an orb when you were in Key West? I would love to hear about that too. In the meantime, you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.